But it had me do an
Okay.
update yesterday.
So yeah, little tricks in here, just so you know. For instance, I can sort on multiple fields or whatever. So when you put in 107, you like here, you would show
Number
you
lock might be off.
all the 107 ones. Okay, so this is,
Okay, this is where I couldn't get to on my own. So
Yeah.
I didn't have my filter bar on.
yeah,
And this is where, and when I tried to do it within the larger grid, it was gonna overwrite the next,
yeah.
the next line. So when I did copy a
All
record,
the departments for the division.
You were trying to change an existing record, and the system was like, what are you trying to do? So we'll go through this just to get a little more
Right, right.
comfortable. Like you said, you haven't been in all these meetings like everybody else has the last
yeah, so those
month or
divisions
two, so we'll just
and
get you a little more
details that
comfortable. Hey, what's the trick? How does it work? And you're like, oh, that was the little piece I was missing that allows me.
which is so important,
You were working on
those
Yeah.
little pieces.
tax.
Cool.
Taxes.
So yeah, like I said, that's kind of the nice feature of the filter bar.
Oh, it's
So
in my update.
remember now, if you, if whatever record you're on, if you hit copy record,
Somehow
oops,
interrupted its brain yesterday.
Do I have to be with this arrow or?
just right click,
It helped her if she wasn't,
you hit the whole
because you know what we're
spell check.
doing.
So now, click into there. Now, you need to go to the next thing, okay? So the key concept is, if you see, go to that top one for just a second. The system knows you're on that record.
Okay.
So you copied that record. Now you need to go to the next record, an empty record, and then paste record. So what it did, the primary keys, it didn't set up which employee, which code, but it copied everything else in the string all the way to the new record. So now you could grab your new guy. Now let me show you a little trick. So let's go ahead. Oh, no, that's good. Type in 107 is fine. Okay.
I had to tab, because in Maxwell tab is everything. No, okay, so 107. Now tab and enter didn't enter over here.
Filter option.
Oh, do you want, oh, sorry, I didn't let you read that. Enter, record already exists, filter option maybe. Oh, okay, so I must have already done hers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's already up
See
there.
up there? Oh, sorry.
Oh, I picked the wrong
That
one.
would be a duplicate record. It won't let you put that same primary key in twice. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you've
so that
already,
was that.
you've already got her.
So I'll just pick somebody else. And is tab and enter the same?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so do me a favor, hit undo. Let's just do, you haven't saved, so yeah, let's go and click into the next thing. Let me show you a little trick. Right click, paste record. So what was the last name of the person you were just doing?
Oh, Epler.
Put in EPPL and hit,
Does it have to be all caps?
well, no, then hit enter.
And
Okay. So one nice thing, the only reason Apple wouldn't have showed up is because there was another Apple. So if the name is singular, that's one way of finding it without doing that.
okay.
Now, if you got 10 Clarks and you try Clark, you'll be like, man, grab my first Clark. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can, it's nice, it works for vendors, works for names, because since it used to be an alpha thing in Maxwell, remember everybody's employee ID was alpha, we're numeric. So of course you won't have those numbers memorized.
Right.
At some point in time, you'll know your number and then you'll probably get, because that's the primary key. But notice, like I said, if you type it in, that's another way of finding it.
Mhm.
So you can now look up and grab the number, or you can type it as long as there's not another one in there before with the same exact alpha characters.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
grab the first one.
And it doesn't matter if it's lower or uppercase.
And then you'll-
Maxwell is always.
That's correct. And then, of course, we can go over there, enter, enter. And now, one other thing about the grid, it's a nice feature. If you wanted to, go ahead and maximize this so it's just a little bit bigger on the screen. You can also rearrange the grids, okay? There's certain times, about the only time we're not going to rearrange the grids is time card entry. Because when you do time card entry, one thing that we did yesterday with Margaret is we were testing the crash class setup and the shift in the earnings code so it can pull the correct rate of pay based upon a bunch of criteria. You cannot change the order of the time card grid because it needs this data before it pulls the amounts and the rates and stuff. So you can't put the rates before the union classification, all this stuff, or it doesn't have what it needs. So with the exception of time card entry, in this, it's really not Excel, but it's got a lot of columns. If you work in a grid all the time, so go ahead, let's go ahead and change one. Let me show you kind of what I'm talking about. Enter, enter, and enter, override standard amount. So now you're like, oh, what was Michelle's weekly amount? So it copied from above. Now you have to, of course, put in her appropriate amount, okay?
So let's say she's 25.
And then the limit, enter, would be 25 times 52 rounded, because that's where you're trying to make sure you don't override the annual limit, and we
Yeah.
set that up, okay? So that's kind of what's going on there. Do you want to undo that because you don't know, or do you want, but let's go ahead and, so hit
So then
save.
you have to
Hit
hit the
save.
save, or if you enter through, we'll
Yeah.
just,
Well, if you enter through, there's about 20 more columns over here.
oh, okay.
And you'd be like, oh man, you're making, so, but if you would have just went down to the next record, it would have auto-saved.
Okay.
Or hidden that. Now, if you wanted to delete her, all you'd have to is highlight that one, see the big red X, click. Now, you don't have to, but it's like, hey, since you didn't have the information for her, do you want to delete that and do it later, so if you mess up and save it, all you got to do is go in there and delete, and the system will prompt you. Sure you want to delete that?
Okay.
Yep. I don't know what her rate is. I have to go to my sheet and find it,
Yeah.
Okay. So that'll help you. Now, also, if you go to view, columns, there's a little feature in every grid, unlock column order. Okay, so now, if there's certain columns, because when you're working a spreadsheet in Excel,
Mhm.
and the columns you want are way, way over here, and you're like, man, I wish I could pull that over here. Because the stuff I'm looking at here are my primary keys. Then I want column 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's over there in column 26. And so you can grab that. So for instance, it's locked by default, and since you're signed in as yourself, it's only doing it for you. You could grab this calculated thing and drag it over here. So if you notice you're kind of dragging it, keep going. So maybe right after processing sequence, let's drop it right there. So then go over to the right. Let's grab the rate and amount. Let's pull that over
Yeah, let's do
and
that.
put it right to the right of that. And then let's go over and grab this. Not pull that back. We need the amount. Oh, so do our grab amount?
Yeah, we grabbed it.
Let's go override standard limit, because we want to make sure that's checked, and pop that in. So then let's go get limit and pop that in there. Okay.
Whoa, wait.
It's like Margaret yesterday with her custom field.
Slow down my mouse. Right here.
Over there, just a sec. Oh, no, grab it.
Okay, we're still going
Left,
left,
keep going.
left. Oh, I
We'll
went
put it
way
right.
far.
Right, keep going,
Fast. Oh, where was I?
keep going. You'll want to put it right
There we
in
go.
there. Okay. So now pull this little sticker, this little grid bar right here.
Yep.
So now on your sign up, and then you can kind of skinny up a few of these things to make it a little smaller. So
Ooh,
just to make your columns. Yeah. So
that was the
pull-
right one?
Well, just pull it in just a little bit. You want to see a little more because you're going to lose information if you go too much. And then like this frequency, maybe do this, because really what I'm trying to do is say, oh, now in one screen,
That line throws me off.
I can see all the stuff. The rate you could tidy up, but it's in a little more user-friendly grid, isn't it? You don't have to go looking over there in column number 12, 13, 14, because you moved it over to 6, 7, 8, or whatever you want to do. So everybody can customize the grid they work in to make it more user-friendly, And so, and wouldn't that be a little bit easier to copy in? Because those are the ones, the filing status and all that stuff is still over there, but it's in the next columns. because you're going to put the ones, it's not like we moved filing status. See, this is all stuff for child support things and stuff you don't need, but on the child support ones, you'll be like, oh, I got to go see what I put in there. Okay. So, yeah. So all of this other stuff, like I said, if you hit enter, you'd be entering till the cows came home. Yeah, because there's so many records. Okay. So just a little trick of, hey, how do I make this thing a little more user-friendly? So when I'm going in and saying, who's got PPO medical, one table, the employee deduction liability table, will give you everybody who signed up. Okay. Here's a nice little trick also. Frequency. Come in here and hit F4. Click into there and hit F4. Frequency means how often do I want this thing to happen? So you're going to set up weekly only because everybody's on weekly payroll here. Salary and field people all get paid 52 paychecks a year, correct? So we have it set up as weekly. Now there's one called inactive. So do you ever have people that sometimes they're no longer going to get it? So you could change them to inactive. So let's
So
say.
they waive a benefit or something?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They had it before, but then they said, hey, take me off of something, a drink opener or something. You could delete it out of here, or you could change it to inactive.
Okay.
The system wouldn't process it on the check, but on the employee setup, you'd go, oh, yeah, you used to have that. So if he ever activates it again, it's already on there. And then you would change it to weekly, make sure that weekly amount was correct, and you'd hit the ground running. So as far as, hey, what is that frequency? Just think, how often would I want it to happen? Inactive pretty much means never. You know, it's an active one, but it's at least still written to the record. Does that make sense? So maybe you want to use that, but you will be setting up most with www because those are your weekly amounts that you want to have. Okay?
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yes.
Okay, so as far as your homework is concerned, kind of getting everybody's
Turn on my
employees.
filter.
Yeah, and your filter bar is on now.
Yep.
In this thing. However, so let's go ahead and minimize this. Now, one thing about Vista is you can have a lot of windows open. So if you would just minimize that, and then you went to PR employees and launch this, this is where you're going to set up employees and go to the grid view. Hey, how do I turn my filter bar on? Because the filter bars are program specific. Just go to the grid, right click, filter bar. Now it's on, and it'll be on the next time you go in there. You don't have to turn it on. It knows you're a fan of filter bars on the employee setup, so each time you put it in, the next time you go in, it'll be on until you turn it off. Okay, so it's just kind of a nice thing to have on in all my grid views, okay, because it allows me to filter.